The thoughts, ideas, and suggestions of both Gage Kirby and the conservatives are not honest about the people who they mention in this episode, nor are they an accurate depiction of any individual. Gage Kirby is acting on his own accord and is not affiliated with this podcast, Panavia, Universal Media, or its affiliates.
On Gogoloki and the Yacht Collector. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Derivative. Derivative, derivative, derivative.
Is art good just because the right people say it's good? Yes. Yes. That's how it works.
Keep in mind, this person complains that I'm not trying very hard in the videos. Well, let's read this, shall we? That's the point. The content is meant to be casual, not pretentious. If you insist on throwing shade based on a lack of effort, look no further than your own AI crap like this that looks like kind master level slop. And of course, the laugh out loud sticker, because when someone points out the obvious hypocrisy, like that is meant to be like a big own on themselves, apparently. I didn't realize that being a hypocrite was somehow not a self-own, but someone pointing it itself out is a self-own on them, okay. Like, I didn't realize we were doing the whole I'm rubber, you're glue thing. My point stands. Either provide an actual rebuttal or don't bother. I have 3 questions, though. Question 1. Why do you need to label me celebrating a significant milestone as clout chasing? Does it shock you that a person can be happy they're in a long-term relationship? 2. It seems like this is more of a personal vendetta rather than trolling, given your dogged determination to talk smack and try to pull personal cards to do so. Do tell. Why are you so mad? And lastly, 3. Why even care about anybody's personal beefs with strangers if all you're going to do is act like the enlightened centrist, whilst failing to understand that regardless of your personal feelings on the matter, Stetson does in fact deserve all the negativity he brings upon himself. But to go back to question 3, why do you need to mention anything about my life or past? None of it's relevant. Alright, let's read this. You behaving towards Stetson the way that you did, regardless of what I said, is not justifiable. Okay, why is it not justifiable? Because you find it too mean? Like I'm too mean to someone that advocates for horrific things? Well, where do you draw the line? Like, how do you define the line? When someone stalks you and bothers your family and tries to screw their lives up or tries to possibly hurt your family, I'd say all bets are off, but that's just me. I'm just someone with a backbone that's not afraid to dig their flag into the ground and fight to the last man. I'm not the person with the limp wrist who's going to cry the moment someone looks at them and takes a swing at them. I'm the dude that's going to get up, wipe the blood from his teeth, and then I'm going to swing 3 times as hard, 3 times as fast, and 3 times as much. Just to let the dipshit in question know that their bullshit will be met with severe retaliation. And if you don't like that, that's fine. It's fine that you don't like that. But that does not mean it's not justified. It just means that you personally don't like it, which is your right. You have a right not to like it. But that does not mean that I am not justified. It just means that you personally dislike it, which again is your right. But I can, however, see a rationale in your case that doesn't absolve Stetson Harwick from his behavior at all. The way he presents himself towards you and everyone else is not excusable, nor should it be seen as an example to follow. Well, no one ever thinks that's an example to follow. Why do you think people ridicule him so harshly? There's a difference between just calling someone names and then there's doing the shit he does where you try to get someone's family harassed. No one tries to do that to him because there's no reason to. No one wants to stoop to his fucking level. 2. You try to be a contrarian centrist hipster that has to be seen as the witty, profound, enlightened guy. No. I just don't believe that either side really has anyone's best interest at heart, because I believe that the people on the hardcore left and the hardcore right are both out of their fucking minds. I'm not trying to present this bullshit narrative that I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm not John. I'm just simply saying, look, given the experience with both parties, they're both full of shit. This is not the same thing as sitting there fucking waxing philosophically of some dick, hoping that waxing said dick philosophically will make you appear to be the person who's seen it all and done it all, because I'm not the person that's seen it all and done it all. I'm just another guy on the internet that's like, I'm not really sure I'd trust either one of these assholes, so I'm staying the fuck out of the way. That's not someone trying to pretend to be enlightened. That's someone saying, I don't want to be involved in this because I find this to be a bunch of shit. Not engaging in that fucking political circus is not the same thing as being a mindless fucking drone who only goes against the culture because they want to be viewed as the counterculture. No, I go the way I go because I've seen how people on both sides fuck each other over politically and socially when it comes down to how people treat their friends if they vote differently. So I just don't get involved. Because it's not my fucking business. Because he has a different way of seeing the world, and someone not being a direct remake of you, you cannot reconcile. I'm perfectly fine with someone disagreeing with me, just so long as their disagreement is based upon actual reasoning. Like, if they can actually argue their opinions in a way that makes sense, yeah, I'm willing to allow that. I'm not going to fucking complain about that if their arguments actually fucking work in some actual way, instead of just flipping reality on its head to make it fit. My issue is when people start pulling personal cards and start doing really shitty things because they want to upset the people in question so that they could get some sort of cheap, limp dick retaliation off making themselves look dumb. It's not a matter of I'm right. It's a matter of leave me the fuck alone and stop dragging me into your dumb shit every time you do something. That's the thing. It was never a matter of his views not aligning with mine. It was a matter of all the stalking and all the other horrific shit that followed. If he'd fucked off when everyone told him to go away and when everyone was ignoring him, that would have been fine. That would have been the end of it. But then he needed to get more personal and start pulling more fucked up shit to get people's acknowledgement again. That was the problem that you conveniently leave out or that you just didn't know. Although given all the documentation of a lot of his creepy shit, I take it you just don't care to know, or you choose not to pay attention because you find it inconvenient for you. The claim that you are celebrating a significant milestone as being akin to someone chasing clout is based on the fact that what you did, the method that someone who is famous and well known in the reality TV series realm tends to do. People do the same thing in real life, though. They will also celebrate a 10-year anniversary in real life by telling their friends about it or by telling people that they associate with about it. Even in passing, people might let that slip. See, that's the thing. Like, why can't everything be... Like, I understand that it's not wise to take everything at face value, but I have nothing to gain by just saying that I love this person and that I'm happy with them. There's nothing to gain there. If anything, it was more of a way to gas her up and basically fill her with a sense of, I still feel the same way I do with them, like I did when we first met. I still have that feeling of awe looking at you the same way I did then as I do now. I want everyone to know how I feel about her is the same way I felt when we first met. I want everyone to also understand that, because if you share that feeling with others, it's possible they might be galvanized, if you will, to possibly find someone that makes them feel the same way she makes me feel and that I make her feel. It may not be the largest thing that is likely to come of it, but that right there might be something people could strive for. I'm not trying to be a fucking idol to anyone. I'm trying to be someone who just simply says, I am fortunate, and I acknowledge that I am fortunate. Put out details of your life as if you are more significant than others. No. Like, what was I saying? LOL, you guys are a pack of losers if you're single? No. I'm saying it's not a great idea to attack someone that's in a relationship because it just looks bitter and shitty for no reason. I just think it's weird, though, that you attacked me like you attacked my relationship so doggedly. Because apparently you couldn't just ask me what the deal was. Like, there are some things you should take at face value, and that was one of those things. But the problem is you assumed the lore was deeper than that. You're literally reading too much into shit because you want to have a reason to complain, it seems. 5. And your dynamic with your partner should be idolized, worshipped, and others should have a niche-specific response. No. It's not a matter of being niche-specific response. It's more of, if you have a problem with that, then why even bother? Why waste the time it takes to write a shitty comment or make a shitty video or write a shitty community tab post about it if you could just say, you know what, this isn't worth it. Because realistically, these people have done nothing to me except exist in my general vicinity. But apparently you had to take issue with that just on principle. 6. If this wasn't the case, you would just enjoy your partner, enjoy the fact that you have one another for a decade, relish the fact that you were fortunate enough to have this lady find you appealing enough to stick around for 10 years. So basically, what, is that like a slight, is that a swipe against my character? Like, heaven forbid I not be the fucking jacked Adonis that everyone envisions when they think of the typical Chad meme template. Again, so basically you're drawing this bullshit, you're drawing this conclusion, well, you posted this, therefore it's for this reason. It's like, or I could just be genuinely overwhelmed with joy, and I might want to share that joy with others. Yeah, heaven forbid I do that at all. Like just straight up say it. You think everything I do is bullshit, like just straight up say it, instead of trying to more or less tacitly imply it without actually fucking saying it. I'd respect that a lot more. 7. Contrary to everything said about you and your dynamic with this young lady. She's not a young lady, she's a woman. She's 31. A young lady would be like the late teens, early 20s. The same reason I'm not a young man, I'm just a man at this point. Hey, I wish you all the best. I am actually, believe it or not, joyous that you have this lady still. No one deserves to suffer through the strife of navigating the landscape of unattached versus non-attached. I don't know, certain people kind of bring it upon themselves because they act really, really fucking shitty and childish, and that kind of drives people away. It's not that there aren't people who certainly deserve it. There most certainly are. And it's okay to say that. Like, there's a difference between someone who's genuinely lonely because they're anxious or because they're genuinely depressed and they don't know how to approach women. And then there are the people who literally drive women or other men away with their incredibly over-the-top, insane fucking behavior. Like, it's okay to say that. Whether you believe this is or isn't the reality is irrelevant, because objectively speaking, it is. Well, no, it's not. Because when someone tries to share their happiness with others because they are overjoyed and over the moon with the fact that they are still with someone that they love dearly, that's not someone trying to get attention. Again, gushing over things that make you happy is not the same thing as doing it for clout. For example, when Killing Floor 3 gets released, and I say I'm psyched for this because I want to see what updates they're putting in the game, like what things they've improved, what things they have done better. Like, that's not me trying to clout chase Killing Floor 3. That is me saying, I'm hoping that this will improve even further. I'm hoping this will be even better as it progresses. Saying things like this are not the same as trying to get everyone on my ass to just mindlessly applaud me for liking something. It's just not the thing. 10. If it wasn't, there would not be an uprise in the incel phenomenon, nor would this have ever manifested in our lifetime, sir. Well, here's the thing. The male loneliness epidemic is a real thing that should be acknowledged, but the problem is the people that are genuinely depressed and genuinely anxious about meeting women who are not very good at making friends, those guys are often not incels. Those guys are just genuinely confused and alone young men that need someone to talk to. This is not the same thing as being a pack of fucking retards screaming on fucking 4chan and Kiwi Farms, trying to make it so that everyone that doesn't have the same problem of being a chronic masturbator is apparently made to, like, be facing some sort of insane day of retribution shit like Elliot Rodger or Alec Manassian shit. Like, my point is this. Like, that's the whole point, is just there are people out there who are alone for legitimately reasons that are not their fault. And then there are people who are alone because they act shitty. There is a dynamic that needs to be established between those who are alone because they cannot help it and those who are alone because they do shit that more or less creates the reason as to why. "11. Stetson Harvick is not a victim, nor was he right in his smear campaign against you. But you defending yourself, and rightfully so, doesn't mean I have to co-sign how you went about it. I never said that you have to co-sign how I went about it. But you must be able to at least understand the rationale behind it. And if you understand the rationale behind it, then there's no point in saying that I'm not justified, because if you could understand the line of reasoning of just viciously pinning this person down and stomping on their neck when they harass you, to the point to where you're at your wits' end with their shit for years, then that means that you should just not say anything or say, well, I wouldn't do that if I were you, but I understand why, to each his own, instead of just trying to sit there and fucking badger me about whether or not I'm justified in having this response. Have someone harass you for years and tell me how fucking thin ice needs to be before you break through and just say, fuck this person. I'm going to make sure that they are gone from the internet, either if I have to chase them off on a rail or if I have to get outside forces involved to shut them up, because I don't want to have to constantly look over my shoulder wondering if some psycho is going to jump me on the streets because of some bullshit they made up. It's not a matter of this person said shit I didn't like. It's a matter of this person said shit that got people to turn up at my fucking house before, and I'd rather not keep fucking playing Russian roulette to determine whether or not some psycho turns up at our house to deal with the problem himself. Like, I've explained this before. Well, I get the rationale. It doesn't mean I have to okay it, just like I never co-signed Stetson Harvick. Well, here's the thing. If you don't co-sign it, then why is it that your only response to him was to use a bunch of slurs instead of directly criticizing this person's character? Saying slurs is not a very competent indictment of someone's actions and character. If you're going to hold someone to a standard, you must be willing to hold that standard unilaterally. So either provide an actual rebuttal or don't bother. It just goes to show how anti-free speech absolutism you actually are. Please revert back to the silent treatment, stonewalling school system psychology that made you people and you function with this platform. Well, here's the thing. Do you even understand what I actually meant? What I actually meant was that if you're just going to say no you or respond with an emoji, then don't even bother responding with an emoji. If you actually care to actually issue a rebuttal, you should be willing to issue a rebuttal instead of just sitting there with a laugh out loud emoji as though someone genuinely criticizing your hypocrisy is somehow meant to be a joke when you literally set yourself up for criticism. 13. If this wasn't your psychology, the people who profited from YouTube would have never done so. Simon, Esion, Shame, Dawson, Leafy's here, Keemstar, etc. Yes, including some guy 27 Damien Skyfire. Again, people wanting to be heard because they want to say something, because they want to offer a oppositional voice, is not the same thing as preventing other people from speaking. See, you're doing this thing that a lot of people like to do, where they say, if you said don't talk, it means you're trying to shut me up forever. No, it means think about what you're going to say and actually compose a fucking argument, instead of just intentionally missing the point to be irritating. That's what I mean. Should I spell it out for you as though you're a small child that's been eating fucking Crayolas? When you snap out of it, let me know, and the rest of whom actually believe in free will and free speech capitalism, be made aware. Otherwise, go back to where you came from, controlling, narcissistic, fascist, high school, middle school aged abuser. Thanks. See, here's the thing. You're throwing the word abuser out again. Last I checked, abuse requires you to have a personal relationship with the person who's at the receiving end of the abuse, whether that be physical, sexual, emotional, or mental. These things require a personal relationship, whether it be a spouse relationship, a domestic partnership, or a parent-child relationship. These are the relationships that often correlate with abuse. Calling some random idiot chode a brain-dead pole smoker on the internet doesn't convert that into abuse. If you want to hold to the UK standard of abuse, then you might as well just not say anything at all, because a lot of the things you said yourself in your shitty fucking video towards me, Damien, and Stetson could also be fucking labeled as abuse. And again, me saying that you should know what you're talking about before you speak is not me trying to be a fascist or a narcissist. I just think that it's best to be fully informed before you go shooting your mouth off about shit you don't understand or that you obviously have not paid attention to. Because what happens is it just comes off as the arrogant, dumb shit that people do when they try to justify their statements but truly can't.